Hey everyone, it's Talia here. Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we are going to be using the Ugly Duckling tippies, and we are going to be using them in a few different ways. I'm going to show you how to apply them with some of their gel products, and I'm also going to show you how to use them for press-ons, because as a press-on artist myself, this would definitely be an option that I would consider for our shop. So let's dive in and get started. Currently, Ugly Duckling offers two different tippies. They have a pointed almond shape, which is quite long. Both of these are quite long shapes, but you can trim them down. And this is kind of how long they look on my natural nails so that you can get an idea of what they look like. They have a nice curve to them. They also have this tapered square shape too. So like it says, it's a square shape, but it's just a little tiny bit tapered. And this is kind of how long it shows on here. I did want to touch on the lamps that I will be using for this demo as well. So I will be using the Ugly Duckling LED lamp. This has a removable metal base to it, so it has a great reflection for an all-over great cure. And the timings on it are 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, 120 seconds, and a leave on setting, which is what I love, especially for using it with the tippies. I am also going to be using their Gooseneck lamp. This is specifically designed for use with the tippies before you go in and get a full cure on your lamp, so kind of like a flash cure. These are not available yet, but will be soon, so I did want to give you guys a little bit of a preview of them. They have a USB adapter as well as like a little click button, which works great, and then they have a clamp on the other side which clamps to your desk. Now this does not have a super wide opening, so if you have a bigger desk than mine, you might have to find something else to clamp it onto. This lamp is really easy to move around and position exactly where you want it. So what I actually did for the demo is I had it going, and then I could easily move it over to where I needed it to be to cure. You guys will see that very soon. The first demo that I'm going to do is using gel with the tippies. So I'm just prepping my natural nail here. I am removing all the shine. I am cleaning up my cuticles, all that basic prep that you would typically do for a gel application, as well as if you're applying press-ons. I did the exact same steps for press-ons too, and you guys are going to see that. When you're finding the best fit for your nails, you want to make sure that it covers both the sidewalls, but that it's not hanging over too much. And if the cuticle is a little bit wider than your natural nails, you can easily file that. So I trimmed both of these shapes down quite a bit to a more wearable length for myself, and then I completely lost the shape of the tips themselves. So I ended up going with a longer shape because I didn't want to lose those. So to prep the tips, I'm going to take my medium to coarse buffing block from Ugly Duckling. These are fantastic. I really like these. They feel good in your hand and they give everything a good buff that I've used them with. So I am just buffing the cuticle here. This is just going to make it so it's not quite as thick when you're applying it to your nails, and you have a more seamless gap at the cuticle. Then I'm also going to take the medium sanding bands, and I'm just going to file underneath the nails where that nail is going to meet my natural nail. After I have removed all of the dust and debris, I'm going to use some of the Ugly Duckling prep on the nails, and then I'm going to go in with the primer. The primer is going to act as your two-sided tape. Now, you'll remember from my last Ugly Duckling video that this is a non-acid primer, but still try your best not to get it on the skin. To use the natural base, this is quite a runny gel, so if you prefer something a little bit runny and a little bit more thin in viscosity, this would be something that maybe would work better for you. I'm going to add a little bit of that gel to the tippies, and I made a lot of errors here, but I'm going to show you guys what I did wrong. So I started at the cuticle and then I pushed it down the whole entire nail, and you can see that giant bubble in there. That is not what we want, but I did want to show you these little clips that you can get from Ugly Duckling too to hold the tip on a little bit better while you stick it under the light. So I actually ended up taking that one off, and I'm going to show you the next gel that you can use too. Builder Base is a more thicker viscosity, and it's a good happy medium between this and like a hard gel, and both the Builder Base and Natural Base are soak off products too. So this wasn't really my favorite one to use. I think I'm going to lean towards using more of a gel application or the Natural Base, because I prefer that kind of thinner viscosity, but I'm doing the exact same steps. This time I'm going to cure it in the big LED lamp, and you guys can see that the reason that I think this lamp would work so well for these is because I can completely remove the base. I can lift it up a little bit, stick my nail under it to get a quick flash cure, put the little clip on. It's just a very versatile lamp because that base can remove. And the last gel that they suggest using with the Tipeez is their clear gels. So I have a full video review of all of their gels, and I really liked the application of this one. So I'm going to go in with a thin layer down on my thumbnail here, and then I'm going to put a little tiny bit on the Tipeez as well. Now this worked a lot better. I didn't get the bubble in it, and what I did is I went super slow when I was applying the Tipeez on top of that gel, and then I immediately got it underneath the lamp here to get a quick flash cure in before I put that clip on to get a little bit of a better hold on it. And this technique seemed to work pretty well for me. I really was glad I had that gooseneck lamp ready to go, and then I did give it a full cure in the LED lamp afterwards. Pink gel polish that I'm going to be using is number 202. This is a newer release to Ugly Duckling, and it is beautiful. It has a really nice rosy hue to it. It's not quite as neon and as bright as I thought it was going to be, so this definitely needs 2 coats. I'm going to go in with my thin coat down here first, cure it, and then I'm going to do a second coat on top of it to build it up a little bit. I'm just going to finish this nail off with my Ugly Duckling tack-free top coat. This is a great formula. I really like this top coat. That was my first time using full coverage tips in combination with gels, so I definitely need a little bit of practice, but I think I did okay with it. Now press-ons, these are my jam. I know exactly how to make this work. So I am using my Ugly Duckling stand for the 5 nails for my right hand, and I have about 8 of them that I use for the press-ons on a regular basis, so I'm quite familiar with these stands. So what I'm doing here is I am sizing my tips for my natural nails. So I struggle with my ring finger a lot. Actually, it's honestly right in between every size that I try. But if I size up, you can see that the bottom does not fit. Like even if I was to file it out, it would just be way too big. So I do take a smaller tip for that one. And usually my pointer finger and my ring finger are the same size. My middle finger is a little bit bigger and my pinky finger is quite small. So I did decide to trim all of these down too to match a little bit closer to what my thumbnail on my left hand looks like. Now my middle finger is a good example of having to prep your tips a little bit more. So it fits great on this nail, but it is too curved up on the sides. So I do have to trim the sides of the base of the cuticle of the tip, if that makes sense, so that they are a little bit more tapered for that natural nail. So I am going to apply a thin coat of the gel polish that I want to use for these. Now for the press-ons, we usually use a tip primer to go on top of this. If you don't have a tip primer though, you can just give the nails a light buff or anything like that, and it'll help hold the gel polish or whatever it is you're doing on top of it a little bit better. So after my 2 coats are done, I am going to put a shiny top coat on these, and then I'm going to show you how we apply them. Our prep for applying press-ons on your natural nails is the exact same steps that you would use for applying gel. So I'm going to give them a buff to remove the shine on the nails. I'm going to go in with my prep as well as my primer, and I am going to buff the back of the nail here too. We don't do this all the time when we're applying the press-ons, but if you want a little bit of a better application with it, they will hold a little bit better. Then I'm going to take a little bit of glue on here, and I like to use these micro swabs to thin the glue out a little bit so that we're not having a lot seeping out of the sides or anything, because that'll just make a giant mess. And then I'm just going to hold the glue down for a little bit, and that's it. For me personally, press-ons on the right hand work a little bit better for me for a few different reasons. My number one reason though is because I suffer from anxiety, and sometimes if I'm having an episode, I just need to get my nails off, and they're a lot easier to take off, and they're also a lot easier for me to do on the stands. I can just paint them, do designs, whatever it is that I want. So it just works a little bit better for me, but they're obviously not going to hold as well as they would with the gels. So I do also use the Tipeez a lot for content creating. If you guys see long nails like this one, it's likely the Tipeez, because I feel like they accentuate the colors really nicely with the shape of them, and they fit my practice hands really well too. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that it helped you, and stay tuned for my next Ugly Duckling video, which will be up very soon, and it features 6 of the brand new gel polishes. This is just a little sneak peek of what they look like. Make sure you follow me on all of my social media that I have nowadays, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!